High-value education offerings are the hallmark of the AIA Conference on Architecture. Soliciting proposals for sessions from established and emerging industry professionals allows AIA to stay on top of state-of-the-field content. Our peer reviewers offer professional expertise that leads to a critically curated education program that offers members skills and knowledge that are relevant and immediately applicable to their everyday professional practice. The Phase 1 proposal process focuses on the relevancy of your content, the innovations or solutions the session is offering, and the strategies and techniques that will be used to deliver the content. The required Phase 1 content is a mix of content you'll need to develop and content you'll need to determine. As we move through, the focus will be primarily on the content to be developed, but you should take note of how each element can inform and impact the others. Expect to revise your proposal content, maybe even multiple times, prior to submission. A conference education session must fall into one of AIA's core competencies: design, practice, or building science. While it's possible for a session to span multiple competencies, for the purposes of the proposal, we ask that you identify the session's primary competency. You'll need to designate at least one and up to 3 topic areas for your proposed session. If you're not quite sure where your proposal fits, this is a good time to take a look at the topic area descriptions in the Call for Proposals reference guide. At this point, let's say you know generally what you're going to address and where it fits into the conference education framework. But what is it you're actually going to talk about? Why should attendees care? And how will you keep them engaged once you've pulled them in? You will articulate the answers to these questions in your session description, your abstract, and your learner engagement statement. Once you've developed these, developing a title that is on point is pretty easy. Once you've had a chance to think about the purpose of your session, how it serves the needs of your audience, and how you might best engage the learners in the content, you can start to think more intentionally about how that engagement might actually work in a real-life conference education learning environment. You need to consider not-so-glamorous elements, such as duration and room configuration, to ensure the best experience for your learners. This chart shows some of the most successful pairings of delivery style and session type. But you should do what works best for your content and audience. Remember, you're not dealing with just any learners. You're dealing with adult professionals who are in your AIA Conference on Architecture education session for a reason. While the characteristics of adult learners are extensive and varied, there are some characteristics that, in a convention education learning environment, you'd do well to design for. Think about the characteristics in the left-hand column. Then review some of the suggested general techniques you might use to appeal to adult learners. Consider jotting down the techniques that would work for your session and brainstorming some specific ways you might execute on these general techniques. Now that you've thought through the what and the how in the context of a general adult audience, think a bit more specifically about who in the conference audience will benefit most from your session, and use your answer to this question to select your proposed session's content level. Now that you've thought through the what and the how in the context of a general adult audience, think a bit more specifically about who in the conference audience will benefit most from your session, and use your answer to this question to select your proposed session's content level. Take another look at the content from our successful sample proposal. Think about how these passages demonstrate an intermediate content level, and what you might do differently with your language to ensure the level is 100% clear. And that's the end of Phase 1 content development. The review of Phase 1 submissions is blind, so as you develop these components, make sure you do not include any speaker details. If selected, you'll submit those details and more in your Phase 2 submission. Thanks for answering the AIA Conference on Architecture call for proposals. Return to the call website for resources to help you with submission and to log in and actually submit your content. Make sure to note the deadlines.